Hello everybody and welcome to this Introduction to Bash Scripting video series where we're going to cover the basics of Bash scripting and how to write some awesome scripts. My name is Bobby Leaf and I've been working as a Linux system administrator for the past 7 years. A few months ago I wrote an open source ebook on how to get started with Bash, which you can download for free. For more information on how to do that, make sure to check out the video description. In this video series we're going to spin up some Linux servers on DigitalOcean and write our scripts on there. If you're new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video. In this part, we would prepare our server where we would be writing our scripts on. I would be using DigitalOcean. If you don't have an account yet, make sure to use my referral link in the video description and you'd get $100 free credit. Once you have your DigitalOcean account ready, head to your control panel and hit the Get Started with a Droplet button. Here, choose the operating system. I would go for Ubuntu 20.04, then choose the size of the droplet. And here, we need to choose the region. I would recommend choosing the one that's nearest to your current location. Then I would select my SSH keys. If you don't have one yet, make sure to follow the instructions in the DigitalOcean documentation. Here, choose a host name. I'll just put bash and then hit the create a droplet button. In a few seconds, usually about 50 seconds, the droplet would be ready. I will go ahead and speed up the videos so that you don't have to wait 60 seconds here. Once the droplet is ready, hit the copy button next to the IP address and then head to your terminal and SSH to the droplet. Here I would put my passphrase for my private SSH key, and with that I'm now connected to my server. If I use the ls command, currently I can see that there's only one folder called snaps, so let's go ahead and create a folder called scripts where we will be storing all of our scripts that we'll be writing along. And then using the cd command, go into that directory, and again using the ls command, we can see that this new directory is completely empty. Let me quickly zoom in this for you so you can see the screen a little bit better. Now let's start by creating a file. As an example, we could call the file devdojo.sh. So just run touch devdojo.sh. Now if you run ls again, you'll be able to see that new file here. Then using your favorite text editor, open the file. I would use nano, followed by the name of the file. The very first line of the script would be the so-called shebang. All that the shebang does is to instruct the operating system to run the script with the /bin/bash executable. The syntax is just a ds followed by an exclamation mark and then followed by the bin bash executable. Actually, if you go ahead and save that and then copy the /bin/bash and exit and run the ls-l command followed by /bin/bash, you'll be able to see that bash is just an executable file stored in the bin folder. If you use the file command, again followed by the /bin/bash, you'll be able to see some information about the executable. In this video, we are going to write a simple bash hello world script. So if we go back to our terminal, I'm in the scripts folder that we created in the last video, and I have the devdojo.sh file here. Again, using your favorite editor, open the file, and right after the shebang line, type the following: echo, and then in quotes, the string that you want to output. So in my case, it would be just hello world. Save that, and then exit. To make the file executable, run the chmod plus x command to make the file executable. After that, again using the ls command, you can see that the color of the file changed a little bit and that we have the X here, which stands for executable. So to execute the file, just type // and then the name of the file. If you run that, sure enough, we are getting the hello world message. Another way to run the script is to just type bash, then again followed by the name of the script. Sure enough, the output would be the same. Also, we can use bash interactively, so without having to put the command in a script, what you could do is just type directly in your terminal echo and then in quotes the string that you want to output. And congratulations, you have just created your first Bash script. In this video, we're going to cover the Bash variables and how to create one. So if I go back to my terminal, as you can see, I still have my sh file. And again, using your favorite text editor, you can open the file. And in order to create a variable, all you need to do is first specify the name of the variable, followed by the value of the variable. Then to echo out the variable, you just need to use the $, and then you can wrap the variable around curly bracelets and then put the name of the variable. If you save that and exit and then run the script, sure enough, we can see the value of the variable displayed in there. You can do the same thing directly in your terminal. So if we define a variable called name again, and then echo out the variable, actually, you don't always need to put the curly bracelets, but it's considered a good practice. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that the Bash variables do not have data types, so a variable can contain numbers and characters as well. Another important thing that I would like to point out is the fact that you should not add a space between the equal sign and the name of the variable. Otherwise, it will not work, as you can see here. In this video, we are going to learn how to ask the user for some input. So if you head to your terminal, and again, I have the .sh file here. Now, again, open the file with your favorite text editor, and let's go ahead and update the script. Last time, we were hard coding the value of the name variable. This time, we are going to actually ask the user to input their name. So let's first echo out a question asking the user for their name. Then using the read command, we will be able to record the user input. And after that, we're going to again echo out their name and greet them. If you save that and exit and run the script, as you can see, first we are being asked to enter our name. And if we do so and hit enter, then we're getting the greeting message. Again, if we run the script, and this time let's put another value so you can see that it changes. And again, now we're getting hello dev. Okay, and this actually could be a little bit simplified, as at the moment we are using echo to echo out the question. What we could do is use the read command with a -p flag, which allows us to print a message. So we can do read -p, then followed by the question in quotes. Then let's add a space here, and then followed by the name of the variable. If we save that and run the script again, the output is identical. We first being asked the question, then we enter our input, and then we get the greeting. As with any programming languages, you can add comments to your scripts so that you or your colleagues could understand the code better by reading the comments. So let's go back to the terminal and open the .sh file from the last video. And here, to create a comment, all that you need to do is add a DS sign in the beginning of the line. So just like this, let's put a DS sign and add this is a comment. After that, let's go ahead and comment all of the lines in this script. So above the read line, we can put a short sentence describing what this does. So it asks the user for their name. And here we can put a short comment saying that it greets the user. Then if you run the bash script, it would run as normal without seeing the comments. So basically the comments are not executed at all. For example, if you run a ls command with a ds sign in front of it, it would not show any output, as bash would interpret it as a comment. And this is pretty much it. This is how you can use comments to document your script and make it easier for other people to understand what you had in mind when you're writing the script. Of course, with a simple script, it might not be needed, but when the script gets more complex, it's good to have some comments. In this video, we're going to cover bash arguments. So if we head back to our terminal, as you can see, we have our DevDojo script here, and let's go ahead and edit it, and let's remove everything actually. In bash, an argument is considered anything that you put after the script when you execute it. So for example, if you run the script devdojo.sh and then put a word after that, that word would be considered the first argument. Let me show you an example so that it would be clear for you. Let's go ahead and put a few echo statements and echo out the arguments passed to the script. So let's just do echo argument number 1 followed by $1, and the 1 here means that the first argument of the script should be echoed out. And let's copy this line. I'm doing this with Control K and then Control U a couple of times. I'll just update information here. If you go ahead and save that and exit, now we can run the script. So bash DevDojo, as you can see, there are no values echoed out because we ran the script without passing any arguments. So let's go ahead and put a couple of arguments. I would put a dog and a cat and a bird. So if we run that, we can see that the first argument is a dog, the second one is a cat, and the third one is bird. That's because that's the order that we are passing the arguments in. If we remove the third argument, as you can see, now there's nothing echoed out. If we change the position of the second and the third argument, you can see that the output changes as well. So you can have as many arguments as you like. And in some cases, you might want to reference all of the arguments. To do that, all that you need to do, use a $sign and the symbol. So let's go ahead and test that. If you do an echo, all arguments are, and then if you put a $sign and then the symbol, this would basically output all of the arguments that you add after the script. So if you go ahead and run it, and let's put a couple of arguments and hit enter, as you can see, we are able to see all of the arguments outputted on the same line. The first argument is accessed via a $1, the second one is accessed via a $2, and so on. And if you want to reference the script itself, you can do it with $0, which basically is referring to the name of the script itself. In our case, it's just devdojo.sh. Let's actually go ahead and test this. Let's do echo $0. Save that and let's run the script again. Of course, let's pass a couple of arguments, and if we hit enter, as you can see, the last line that's being outputted is the name of the script. This is actually a quite handy solution if you need to have a script that self-deletes itself. If you do an rm-f $0 and then run the script, it will delete itself. So if we run it and then run ls-l, you can see that the folder is now empty. If you have ever done any programming, you're probably familiar with what arrays are, but just in case that you're not a developer, arrays are similar to variables, but unlike variables, arrays can hold multiple values. So let's hit our terminal and let's show you how arrays work. If we run ls, we can see that the folder is empty as we deleted the file in the last video. And let's go ahead and create a new file called devdojo.com, just as an example that you don't always have to name your scripts with a .sh file extension. It would work even if the file doesn't end in .sh, but it's a good practice to keep things consistent. And let's start, as always, with a shebang. After that, let's put a short comment just to test this out. And then to initialize our array, all that we need to do is, just as a regular variable, specify the name of the array, then put the equal sign, and then the specific thing here are the brackets. And inside the brackets, we assign our values by dividing them by a space. So in other words, you can initialize an array by assigning values divided by space and enclosing them in brackets. Let's put a couple of values here, value 1, value 2, and value 3. Then again, to access a specific value, we can use the echo command followed by the $sign and the name of the array. And then in square brackets, we specify the index ID of the value that we want to access. One important thing to keep in mind is that arrays start at index 0. So now that we specified index 1, we're actually seeing the second value because that's the index of it. If we specify index 0, then we would see the first value. Value 1 is at index 0, value 2 is at index 1, and value 3 is at index 2. Let's make this a little bit easy and let's change the values so that they also start at 0. And then let's copy this line and duplicate it and echo out all of the arguments. So you see value 0 is at position 0, value 1 is at position 1, and value 2 is at position 2. Now, in order to access the last element of an array, all that you need to do is use -1, which would basically show value 2. As value 2 is the last element of our array. And similar to the bash argument, you can output all of the elements of the array by putting the @ sign. As you can see now, if we run the script, we're getting all of the elements of the array in here. Arrays could be confusing, but once you get the hold of them, you can write some awesome scripts with them. In this video, we're going to cover the bash conditionals and mainly the bash if statements and how to use them. Okay, so if we head to our terminal, in the last video, we created a file called devdojo.com. Let's go ahead and rename that to devdojo.sh with the mv command. Okay, that's done. And now again, with your favorite text editor, open the file. And again, let's go ahead and clear that. We're going to write a short script that is going to ask the user for their name, and if their name is empty, it would let them know that they need to provide their name. Let's start with a comment, and let's call this just something descriptive, bash if statement example. Then on the next line, let's use the read command and ask the user for their name. So read -p, what is your name? And then followed by the name of the variable. After that, to create an if statement, what you need to do is just type if, then put 2 square brackets, and then 2 closing square brackets. Inside the brackets is where we would put our logic. So with a -z, then followed by the name of the variable, we would be able to check if the variable is empty or not. Then on the next line, the syntax of the if statement is just the then word followed by the thing that you want to do in case that the variable is empty. In our case, we would want to just echo out a simple statement saying that the name should be entered. So we could do echo, please enter your name. After that, let's add an else condition so that if the first if condition is not met, then we have a fallback statement. So in our case, if the variable is empty, we would echo out, please enter your name, and else, if the variable actually has a value, then we would like to print out a greeting message. So we could do just echo hi there, followed by the name of the variable. Then to close the if statement, you just need to type fi, which is basically if backwards. Then save that and let's run it. So just do bash, then followed by the name of the script. We are being asked for our name. If we say Bobby here, then we are getting the greet message. Let's run this again without specifying any input. So now the variable is empty and we are getting the please enter your name output. Okay, now let's go ahead and update the script a little bit and let's change the logic. What we would do is specify an admin username. So let's call this DevDojo, and then we're going to ask the user for their username. And if their username doesn't match the admin username that we specified here, then they should get a message that they are not the admin user. And if it matches, then they would get a message that the user is the admin user. Inside this statement, what we can do is specify the name of the username variable and check if it equals to the admin username that we specified a little bit above. What I like to do is to put the then statement on the same line as the if statement. It makes things a little bit more easier to read for me. And then here, if the username matches the admin username, then they should get a message that they are the admin. Else, if it doesn't match, then they should get a message that the username that they've entered doesn't match the admin username. So basically we are checking the two variables inside the if statement, and if they're the same, we are printing out the you're an admin user message. Save that and let's exit. Let's go ahead and make this file executable with the chmod command, and then let's run it. So the first time we're being asked for our username. I'll put my username here, and as it doesn't match the admin username that we specified in the script, we are getting a "you're not an admin user" message. Let's run the script again, and this time let's enter the correct admin user. And sure enough, we are getting the "you're an admin user" message. If we run it again and don't enter any input, we would again hit the "you're not an admin user" as the input that we've entered doesn't match the admin variable that we specified inside the script. In this video, we're going to cover bash loops, and mainly the for loop and the while loop. Also, there is a until loop, which we're not going to cover in this video, but you can check it out in my open source Introduction to Bash Scripting ebook, which you can download for free. So as always, let's get to our terminal, and let's actually delete the old file, and let's create a new one. We can delete the file with the rm command. Again, let's start with a shebang, and then let's put in comments the structure of a for loop. So the structure of for loop is just the for keyword, then variable name, then the in keyword, and then the list that we want to loop through. After that, on a second line, add the do keyword, and followed by the commands that you would like to run. We close the for loop with the done keyword. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out. Let's create a variable called users, and let's put a list of users inside there. I'll just put DevDojo, Bobby, and Tony. And we don't need the commas. Okay, so let's write a for loop. We'll put for user, that's the singular of users, in users, as that's the variable that we specified up there, then the do keyword, and then just a simple echo. And then to close the for loop, we just use the done keyword. And what would basically happen is that the for loop would loop through all of the users that we have in the users list and output the name. So if you run it, you can see that the names have been outputted on separate lines. We can actually put a greeting here. So let's say hello there, and then followed by the username. So if we run that, we get hello there for each of the users. Another useful example here would be to output the numbers from 1 to 10 with a for loop. So let's go ahead and get rid of this users variable, and let's go ahead and update the for loop. Okay, so what we can do is for, and let's again put the name of a variable, then again the in keyword, and using the curly bracelets, we can specify the range that we want to output the numbers from. So let's do 1 up to 10. And then here, let's output the number. So we can say number is, and then followed by the variable that we specified up there. So just num. And then to close the loop, we just do done. If we run that, we're getting the numbers from 1 to 10. Actually, let's try with 1 to 100. So if you run that, you can see that the loop ran 100 times. And this is how you can use a for loop. Now let's go ahead and learn how to use a while loop. Let's open the file and get rid of the old for loop. And again, in comments, let's put together the structure of a while loop. So the syntax is the following. You start with the while keyword, then in square brackets, you put your condition. So similar to a if statement. Then similar to a for loop, you use the do keyword, and here you put your commands, and then you finish with done. Now let's go ahead and create a similar script to the one that we created in the last video. Let's first ask the user for their name. Let's do echo, enter your name, and then let's read the name variable. Then in a while loop, let's check if the variable name is empty. And if it is empty, we are going to ask the user to enter their name again, so that we are sure that the user enters their name before they get greeted. So if the name variable is empty, we would like to ask the user to enter the name again. So what you can do is echo, you need to enter your name, and then again we can use the read command to ask the user for their input, and then we close the while loop with done. And finally, if the while loop exits, then this means that the name variable is no longer empty and we can greet the user. Then if we save that, exit, run the script, and then just hit enter without providing any input, as you can see, we're stuck in the while loop and we're being asked to enter our name. If we enter our name, the while loop exits, and then we are getting greeted. Let's run it again and specify the name straight away, so you can see that the while loop is never run because the name variable was not empty. Functions are a great way to reuse your code so that you don't have to type it every time. You could just type it once and wrap it up in a function, and then just call that function whenever you need it. So let's head to our terminal and create our first function. Let's delete the old script file and let's create a new one. Again, let's start with a shebang. Here, let's put a short comment describing the structure of a function. So to create a function, what you need to do is start with a function keyword. Then you need to put the function name. Then after that, using a opening and a closing bracket, followed by a curly bracelet, and then inside those two curly bracelets is where you put your function's body. Note that you don't always have to put the function keyword in front, but I like it because it makes the code a little bit more readable. So let's go ahead and create a function. Let's start with the function keyword, and then the function name would be hello, then the opening and the closing brackets along with the curly bracelets. Here, let's just echo out hello world function. And then in order to call the function, all you need to do is just use the function name. So if you go ahead and save that, run the script, sure enough, you're getting the hello world function output. The cool thing about this is that you can call the function as many times as you like. So if we call it a second time, further down the script, it would work just as normal. So rather than having to type hello world function each time, we can just type hello and it would be the same output. Okay, let's go ahead and create one more function and I'll show you how function arguments work. So let's call this function greeting, and here let's say hi there. Then we would accept an argument. It will be the first argument, similar to the bash arguments that we covered in the earlier videos. So then in order to use that, all that you need to do is call the function name followed by a argument. And here, Bobby would be the first argument, so the output would be hi there, Bobby, because Bobby is the first argument that we specified after the function name. And this is pretty much it. I use functions a lot in my scripts. What I usually do is just put all of my logic and wrap it up in a function, and then I call that function later on. In this video, we're going to cover some bash debugging and how to check your scripts. So if we head back to our terminal, we already have our script here. This is the script from the last video. It's just a simple bash function that echoes our name and greets us. Okay, so usually how we run the script is just type bash and then name the script. But if you want to debug the script in case that it's not working correctly, what you can do is run bash -x and then followed by the name of the script. As you can see here, we get some more information. The first thing that happens is that we call the greeting function, then we see the echo output. Of course, if there is a loop or some more logic in your script, you would see more output. Another way to debug a script is to use the built-in set command. This is useful because you can debug just a part of the code and not the whole script. To do that, all you need to do is put set -x at the line that you want to start to debug from, and then to stop the debugging, just use set +x. Now if you save the script and then run it again with just bash followed by the name of the script, the only debugging part would be the part between the set -x and the set +x. This is handy for larger scripts so that you don't get too much output. Another handy way to debug your scripts is to use this very helpful website called shellcheck.net. If we go ahead and visit this, what you can do is just copy and paste your script in there, and it will analyze the script and give you some tips on how to optimize it, and that way you make sure that you're following the best practices. For example, if we paste our script in here and wait for the website to analyze the script, as you can see, they're suggesting that we wrap up the variable inside quotes. So if we do that, then there are no more errors. So this is pretty much it. This is how you can debug your bash scripts and make sure that they work as expected. Congratulations on completing this Introduction to Bash Scripting video series. In this video series, we have covered just the Bash basics, but you now have enough information on how to start building your own scripts. As a next step, I would recommend checking out this quick guide on most of the things that we've covered. You can make sure to bookmark this and you can refer back to it whenever you need. Another thing that I would suggest checking out is this Introduction to Bash Scripting ebook, where we've got some more information and we go through some Bash scripts. You can also check out the website for this Introduction to Bash Scripting book, where there's an interactive training which you could follow along directly in your browser. It includes an interactive terminal and covers most of the things that we did in those videos. Thank you for watching, and if you like the content, make sure to hit the subscribe button.